Hello, everybody. Mexico City, a bright morning in 2027. In a small cafe downtown, Ana María sat pensively sipping her black coffee. 5 years ago, her life felt stable as a high school teacher, but the ongoing economic crisis and an uncertain future made her heart restless. "Did you hear? There's a new community opening an Islamic learning center nearby," said a friend, her voice full of curiosity. Ana María nodded slowly. At first, she was skeptical. How could Islam, once considered foreign in Mexico, suddenly attract the attention of many people, even her classmates? However, since the center opened, stories about Islam as a teaching that emphasizes peace, brotherhood, and justice began to spread. Ana María started reading, talking with the instructors, and gradually her heart began to open. Outside, Mexico City was busy as usual, yet behind the hustle and bustle, something big was happening. In the past 5 years, thousands like Ana María joined a rapidly growing Muslim community. Thoughtful and empathetic preaching, along with strong social support, made Islam a new spiritual choice amid the anxiety of society. Not only in the city, but in rural areas like Chiapas and Oaxaca, change was also starting to be felt. Communities that were once small had now become a large movement, bringing fresh hope to millions of souls thirsty for meaning and hope. At a newly built mosque on the outskirts of Guadalajara, the call to prayer echoed for the first time, marking a new chapter in the country's history, which had long been known for the sound of church bells. The year is 2030, 5 years since the great wave of conversions began, and Mexico finds itself in the midst of a whirlwind of change, shaking the country's social and religious order. At the heart of Mexico City, the centuries-old Metropolitan Cathedral is undergoing a transformation unimaginable to many. Inside the majestic building, Christian ornaments are being carefully removed one by one. The large crosses on the walls are taken down and replaced with golden Arabic calligraphy, symbolizing verses from the Quran. In a small room on the western side of the cathedral, María Elena stood frozen, her eyes wide open in shock. She had been a church administrator for years, now witnessing what she regarded as the destruction of her family's heritage. "We never imagined this would happen," her voice trembling as she spoke to her friend Ana María. "This place isn't just a building, it's a home for our souls. Now it's all changing." But Ana María smiled gently and held María Elena's hand. "I understand, María, but for many, this is a new beginning filled with hope. I myself feel a peace I've never felt before." Elsewhere in the city, at a newly built mosque blending modern design with traditional Mexican elements, Carlos prepared his sermon. Once a devout Catholic priest, his spiritual journey had led him to Islam. Now, as the new imam, he led a congregation numbering in the thousands. "We are not here to erase history, but to continue a spiritual journey long delayed," Carlos proclaimed loudly and passionately to the crowd. "This is not about replacing, but about finding the true path for our hearts." Meanwhile, in the downtown park, protests erupted. Hundreds of conservative Catholics gathered carrying banners reading, "Protect our heritage," and "Stop the Islamization of Mexico." Don Miguel, a 68-year-old pastor, led the oration amid the crowd. "This is an assault on the roots of our culture. Our church is being turned into a mosque without respect for our history. We demand the government stop these changes." But the government took a firm stance. Interior Minister Laura Martinez stated in a press conference, "Mexico is a pluralistic nation that upholds freedom of religion. We will not allow discrimination or violence in the name of any faith." The phenomenon in Mexico caught global attention. International media buzzed about this spiritual revolution. Some Western outlets labeled it the largest wave of Islamization in the Americas, while Middle Eastern media highlighted Mexico as a success story of modern Islamic outreach. The Vatican did not stay silent. In an official statement, the Pope called the changes in Mexico a serious challenge to Latin America's Catholic identity and urged for an honest and compassionate interfaith dialogue. Amid protests and tensions, stories of hope and reconciliation also emerged. In a small village in Chiapas, the Lopez family, longtime Catholics, quietly began attending Islamic lessons from their neighbors. "I'm not abandoning my faith, I'm just finding a new peace," Juan Lopez said, eyes shining. Meanwhile, in downtown Mexico City, Catholic and Muslim communities came together to host a joint cultural festival, showing that religious differences need not be barriers to brotherhood. Mexico now stands at a great crossroads between deeply rooted tradition and a wave of change shaking old foundations. What is happening is more than a religious shift. It is a social and cultural transformation shaping the nation's future. The year is 2035, 15 years after the great wave of conversions. Mexico is truly transformed. The streets of Mexico City are adorned with green, white, and black flags, the colors of Islam, blended with Mexico's traditional red, white, and green. In public schools, Arabic is now taught alongside English and Spanish. National holidays no longer only celebrate Christmas and Easter, but also Eid al-Fitr and the Prophet's birthday. The old and new worlds have merged, creating a harmony once thought impossible. In the Mexican Parliament building, a young woman named Sofia speaks boldly. She is the youngest member of Parliament and a Muslim born into a Catholic family that once resisted change. "We do not forget the past, but we choose to build the future together," she says before thousands of spectators and international media. This transformation is our chance to show that diversity is not a barrier, but a strength. Outside, in Plaza Mayor, now a hub of multicultural gatherings, thousands celebrate a festival of peace and interfaith brotherhood. They sing, dance, and share traditional foods representing the heritage of many cultures. However, the journey is not without challenges. Some extremist groups from both sides still reject the change. Minor violent incidents and political tensions occasionally arise, testing the nation's commitment to coexistence. Religious leaders from various backgrounds continue to hold dialogues and joint programs to strengthen understanding and tolerance. Schools and universities teach the history of this transformation as a vital lesson for future generations. The new Mexico is about more than religion. It is about identity, humanity, and the courage to change. María Elena, who once opposed the transformation, has become a bridge between Catholic and Muslim communities. Carlos, the imam, who once was a priest, looks to the future with optimism. "We have weathered the storm, now we sail toward the harbor of peace." Mexico teaches the world an important lesson that change, though full of uncertainty and conflict, can lead to unity and new hope. When hearts open and souls embrace, a nation can find its strength in diversity.